And they're off. Large fields and huge pari-mutuel pools result in the best opportunity to profit betting horse racing on Breeders' Cup weekend. WagerTalk's own horse racing expert, Sig, will be joined by handicapper and horse racing contest expert Sean Alvarez as they preview the entire field for Breeders' Cup weekend in the 2021 WagerTalk Breeders' Cup preview and wagering guide. You will receive in-depth analysis of every horse in the 14-race field from our experts, as well as selections and betting strategies from both Sig and Sean, all 14 Breeders' Cup races on Friday and Saturday. For a limited time, if you pre-order the guide before midnight on October 31st, you can save $10 off the regular price and pay only $29.99 for expert selections and analysis for every Breeders' Cup race. Don't hesitate, grab your 2021 WagerTalk Breeders' Cup preview and wagering guide now at wt.buzz/sig.
So hard to find good help these days. Welcome in, guys. Happy Friday to you. It's time for another edition of the NBA Tip-Off Show, powered by WagerTalk.com here as we head into this weekend. Got a lot going on. You got the World Series, of course, college football. We had a little Thursday night football drama in the NFL, but we got a whole lot, believe it or not, here, even the second week of the association. We have some interesting trends emerging here, and we're here to break down 4 games here for you with 3 of our favorites here. It is the Friday crew at the NBA Tip-Off Show with Steve Merrill up top, and then Rob Vino right in the middle, and, of course, hitting cleanup today, Mr. Swiss Flag himself. Swiss Miss in the house here. There he is, Kevin Dolan here, guys. And interesting so far here, Steve Merrill. I know you're continuing to kill it in the NBA early on. Some interesting trends, though. I would think the first thing that sticks out is how many unders we have had, and the lack of actual fouls being called, too, I think is playing a role in that, not just with James Harden, but across the betting markets here in the association. What have you seen?
Well, it's interesting because we saw that in the NFL. We definitely saw it in the preseason, that first week of the NFL preseason. We saw baseball games, obviously lower scoring as they often are in April and May. We've talked about that in the summer months. And then, of course, the NBA. I mean, so you do see this a lot in sports in general, that the defenses are usually a little bit ahead of the offenses. And maybe we're getting more load management because it was one of the shortest off seasons ever between the finals and the start of this regular season. But NBA's been going really well for us. We've actually been focusing on sides for the majority of my plays, and off to a 9-2, 82% start, number 1 so far this season at WagerTalk.com. And I do have a strong 2-for-1 special Friday night. Now, a huge football card, obviously, Saturday and Sunday, but let's make some money as we head into the weekend with 2 big NBA best bets tonight. 2-for-1 special, Rob Vino approved, Steve Merrill, WagerTalk.com. And as we throw it to Rob Vino, he was so close to making me proud. 3rd show today I've done with him. And then he starts yapping when it was quiet on the set. He was so close to getting it right.
Yeah, right. Rob doesn't want to play that right now. Rob Vino, always a pleasure, my man. Happy Friday. You were on the show with Ski and Tony Finn yesterday, and we broke down a couple of interesting games last night. First and foremost, congratulations, those that you tailed New York Knicks first half. Cha-ching. We'll get to the contrarian play in a minute here, but how was your evening, my man, and what have you noticed thus far in the association through a couple of weeks?
Well, today I've noticed that the 3rd stage of my relationship building tour with Steve Merrill is going pretty well at this point in time. Good to see you, Steve. Last night show, I tell you, that NFL game just absolutely took the wind out of my sails for the night, having the total over and watching what happened. Here on tonight's card, we are about to post as soon as this show is over, but there's a couple of interesting injury situations we'll get into here, some that we won't get into because we won't cover those games. But it's early on, and you, Ski, and I spent a little bit of time last night after the show, and it's the same old NBA, right? I mean, we were scrambling up until, I don't know, 45 minutes, less than that, till game time to find out who the heck's playing and who's not playing in these games. So it's going to be a tough road again. This stuff is not easy with the way that they handle these late announcements of who's playing and who's not.
Yeah, it's getting kind of crazy. Is Embiid playing? Is he not? I don't know. Who's in? What's on first, third base? It's been, and here we are 2 weeks into the NBA season. I couldn't imagine being a season ticket holder, Kevin Dolan. Could you imagine? Be like, all right, we're going tonight. He's playing. Well, turn the car around over here. How have you been doing here in the association, Kev? I know you are extremely busy this time of year, continuing to kill it in football, and now you got basketball back, soccer. It's continuing to be a very profitable 2021 for you.
Yeah, for sure, Joe. I've had to tell my wife for the last few years, September to January, forget about it. Don't bother planning anything because we're going nowhere. But, everything's going pretty well over here. Nice we started the NBA season, 5-1 to start the season there. So, just getting warmed up, really. And apart from all that, 5% college football, 6-pack loaded up for tomorrow, swept the board last week. And look, it's Halloween. Might treat myself to a couple of pints tomorrow night to celebrate, what's it, the second greatest Irish holiday of the year? So, all good, my end, yeah.
Wow. You just had a couple of pints. He's doing it already. I love it. Let's get it going here on a Friday, guys. And let's start, of course, as we head in with none better than our contrarian play of the day here, guys, to start it. And this was an interesting play last night for us here as we ended up backing the Memphis Grizzlies, getting 6 points against the Golden State Warriors. Guess what? That was an outright win coming off of that Cleveland Cavaliers contrarian play we gave you the night before as they took care of business against the Clippers. Now, the game we're looking at here tonight is a bit of a head-scratcher, certainly from a market perspective, and it's the Sacramento Kings taking on the New Orleans Pelicans, and Sacramento opened up as a 2-point favorite in this one, and it's kind of head-scratching there, Steve, because Sacramento was just, I think, getting 8.5 a couple of nights ago against Phoenix, and now they're on their way to a Pelicans team who still without Zion, but they are home, and they've actually played a heck of a lot better over the last couple of games. So I don't understand all the love for Sacramento here, but certainly the market seems to like Sacramento. I think the New Orleans Pelicans are a pretty good contrarian side at home at an underdog price. What do you think?
Well, they might be a good contrarian side, but I don't necessarily agree with that side. And I know, to your chagrin, Joe Ranieri, you hate it when I go against the contrarian play, and I leaned against it on Wednesday. And despite a 3-0 sweep on my best bets in the NBA and World Series, that's all you could talk about Thursday when I next spoke with you. But look, I'm going to disagree with it again here tonight on Friday. I think Sacramento's the play. And one thing I'll point out is, yes, they're 2-2 straight up on the season, straight up in ATS. Those two losses against Utah and Golden State, two pretty good teams. The 2 wins and covers at Portland, at Phoenix, straight up dog wins in those games. In fact, this is the first time all season, Joe, that they've been a favorite in a game. So it's a definite step down in class. It's still a basic straight up win situation. I don't think the spread's going to come into play. I'll take a team that hasn't been favored all year, who's the better team, against a Pelicans team. Maybe they're playing a little bit better, but they're still 1-4 straight up. I see the Kings winning this game. That means they most likely cover the 1.5 as well.
But listen, I don't mind that you go against it. Your bookie loves that you go against the contrarian play.
But he hates me.
Vino,
he hates
yes,
me.
Rob Vino, talk to me here because this is what a difference a day makes. Talk about a role reversal. They're an 8.5 point favorite against Phoenix. They get a crazy 3-point shot at the end to win that. And now the role reversal, they're this favorite on the road against New Orleans. I don't get it. Can I interest you in backing the Pelicans here tonight?
Yeah, power ratings don't show Sacramento as the favorite on the road here, Joe. They show New Orleans, at least power ratings that I keep show New Orleans 1.5 point favorite. I think what's interesting is the last 3 games worth the transformation that we're seeing under New Orleans. Last year, Stan Van Gundy steps in. They tuned him out from the get-go. He's supposed to be a defensive-minded coach. They played little to no defense whatsoever. But the last 3 games against really offensive-minded teams, Minnesota twice and Atlanta once, the Pelicans started to play some defense. They only allowed 40.6, 34.4, and 41.7 from the field, which by Pelican standards, by any standards, are really, really good. By Pelican standards, are almost unbelievable. So I think Willie Green, the new head coach here, has brought in a different philosophy which is, hey, guys, let's try playing some defense. I don't know if they'll continue to buy in, Joe, but it looks so far, they made some trades. They weeded some guys out, brought some new guys in. What it's done, though, is it's affected their offense, right? First of all, not having Zion is a huge hole in their offense. But beyond that, Steven Adams can't play offense. They're about the crookedest shooting team in the NBA right now. So their games have trended way under. It'll be interesting to see if they allow Sacramento to play the pace that they want to play. But again, I'm going to use the 3 games prior, and especially the Minnesota games, where New Orleans played pretty good defense. So it looks like maybe a shot here for the Pelicans, who came real close against the Hawks the other night, 102-99. They had that game for a while. Maybe they get this one here.
Yeah, and they were getting, I think, 6 at that game, too, as well at home, and it came close. And the thing that scares me about Sacramento, and I think we'll be able to profit from them, certainly in an underdog role here this year, Kev, is that I've watched them blow 2 big fourth-quarter leads so far here, and that Hail Mary by Barnes, Rob and I both that night just wanted to die. Pelicans at home in a situation where they've been playing a little bit better. Can I interest you in backing the home underdog here to Pelicans as a contrary play?
Well, to be honest, Joe, backing either of these teams doesn't exactly, get the juices flowing, to be honest. But on the surface, at least, look, I'd agree with Steve in respect. I think Sacramento are the better team. So when you're talking about laying only 1.5, it looks like a decent price, effectively, just to win the game. But, as you just mentioned, how can you trust this Sacramento team down the stretch? 13-point lead with about 5 minutes to go against Phoenix, almost coughed up that game. And that game's not exactly an island either. The Kings have the second worst opponent fourth quarter points in the league this season. They're giving up 31.2 points per quarter on average in the fourth quarter. And that's despite hitting over 12% more from 3-point range than the Suns in that game as well. The Pelicans aren't exactly strangers to letting big leads slip either. They blew a 16-point lead early against the Hawks themselves last time out. But, that doesn't concern me nearly as much as Sacramento's late meltdowns do. And as Rob said, the Pelicans definitely look like a team who are improving with every game as well. New Orleans' defensive efficiency numbers have gone from a season average 19th to now being 5th in the league over the last 3 starts. So, with that obvious improvement in the defensive end for the Pelicans, if looking to take a side here, it's more than likely going to be New Orleans here. I think they can win this one outright. So, yeah, lean to New Orleans for me.
So, just to recap here, Steve Merrill, the Pelicans, 1.5 would absolutely be the contrarian side here tonight, guys. Contrarian play today. Pelicans at home getting that 1.5. All right, we're going to move on to another game here, our featured matchup number 1 of the night. And boy, oh boy, the Miami Heat taking on the Charlotte Hornets. Now, injury concerns on both sides of the ball here, including P.J. Washington, Terry Rozier. I know Bam. There was a question as to whether he would play. I saw this as high as 6.5. It's obviously come down now. We're getting some Charlotte money. Charlotte can shoot the ball, Rob Vino, but do we trust Charlotte on the road to take care of Miami with or without Bam?
Good question, Joe. I mean, with Bam not protecting the rim, that's helpful to Charlotte, a team that has shown already this season that they're going to play at pace no matter who the opponent is. When LaMelo Ball really got rolling last year, about almost near the midway point of this season, they just started scoring, and defense was abandoned, and it's kind of the way they look right now. They shoot the ball real well, like you said. They allow the other team to shoot the ball real well. But that Bam Adebayo injury for Miami would concern me, because that's one of the bigger advantages they have in this game on both ends of the floor, offensive and defensive. Terry Rozier, if he does go tonight, which he's up to questionable for the Hornets, I think makes a big difference as well in that backcourt to give extra scoring punch. So, my first inclination was Charlotte has just been pushing teams up and down the floor so fast that maybe we'll play over. But boy, when you look at Miami, there's no way you can play them over. And I'll just point out one example. That's the game against Indiana, who we know plays a lot like Charlotte, little defense, lots of offense. That game only totaled 193 points. So it's difficult to get to what I really like this year, which is Charlotte overs. I don't think I can get there tonight, but maybe plus points if Adebayo is not going. And again, here we go with these ifs. But you really do have to wait. I mean, it's too difficult to play it 2.5 hours before game time, not knowing if Adebayo is going or not. PJ Washington out doesn't bother me, but if Bam's in, it's a totally different story.
Yeah, I mean, there were some questions about Lowry, but he does look probable at this point. But he's still trying to kind of find his rhythm here with this team. So, Kevin Dolan, what do you think if you're looking at this game tonight? Is it just look at the under and don't look at anything else? How are you going to approach it?
Well, I'll keep this one super brief, as this game's actually going to be my best bet for later in the show. But a cheeky wee prop bet, cheeky wee one that I do like for this game also is Kyle Lowry, who's probable over 22.5 points and assists tonight against the Hornets. You know, obviously depending if he does play, obviously listed as probable right now, as you said. You know, Lowry leads the team in assists per game this season at 7.7. His shooting has been off to start the year, in fairness, no doubt about that. But, you know, you'd have to expect that to improve. And Charlotte are 23rd in the league this year in opponent assists per game, giving up 25.6 assists per game on average. They're even worse on points per game, 27th in the league. They're giving up 116 points per game. So there'll be plenty of opportunities for Larry tonight to boost those numbers, you know, against this subpar Hornets defense. So I like that. Over 22.5 combined points and assists for Kyle Lowry tonight for me.
All right, good stuff. Now, Steve, this really does come down to we've got an elite defensive team in Miami, and we've got a damn good, pretty elite offense rolling right now with Charlotte. So which gives, which one wins here tonight in your mind?
I think all things equal, the better defense in any sport normally beats the better offense. And, we've talked about how these games have tended under so far the first week and a half of the season. So I would lean under in this game. I think there's some value there with the Miami Heat in any game under 222.5, like we get the total here tonight. And like you said, Joe, it is a high total because Charlotte's averaging 121 points a game, but Miami's allowing just 95, and it's legit. 39% field goal defense, 28.5 from three. Charlotte's hitting 41.5% from three, so something does have to give here. I'm going to guess it's probably the Miami defense that wins out here, especially with both teams a little bit banged up. I think the best way to play this one is under 222.5.
Yeah, look at it. Absolutely. I mean, as good as they have been, Charlotte, offensively, they haven't played a defense like Miami here, so it'll be interesting to see on the road what they can come up with. We're going to move on, though, and we're going to take a look at our featured game number 2 here tonight. And boy, oh boy, if you're the Brooklyn Nets, maybe exactly what you need after getting pushed around by the Miami Heat is an Indiana defense, mostly because they don't play any. 8.5 as a total is what it opened up as, 223. Another high total, but I guess I understand the total here, Kevin, because, listen, when it comes to defense, Brooklyn and Indiana is not where you're going to find it. So might you be looking at the over in this matchup, or do you have a side you prefer?
Nah, you said it, Joe. I actually quite like the over in this game between the Pacers and the Nets. I mean, both of these teams ranked bottom 12 in the league in terms of scoring over the last 3 starts. Brooklyn especially put up just 97.3 points per game over those last 3 starts. So there's 29th in the league. They're combining that with just 41.7% shooting. That's 24th in the league, 29.2% from downtown as well, 25th in the league. So, I can understand anyone not being overly enthusiastic about taking an over between these two. But, we know how good these two teams can be when they do get it going on offense. And by the same token, we know how bad they can be on defense. So I think they'll kind of bring the best out of each other tonight. So it's a definite lean to the over 223 for me in this one.
Yeah, what do we do here, Steve, in this matchup here? Do we trust the Nets to finally put it together and to outfire the Pacers, or do you think that maybe the total's the way to look here?
Yeah, I mean, normally when you're on a 5-0 under run to start the season, you're not going to say there's necessarily value with the under anymore. But I think because it is the Brooklyn Nets, there has been value, and that's why they're tending under, because they've been really bad offensively. I mean, this is now 3 straight games in which they've shot below 44%. They've alternated wins and losses, point spread and straight up for all 5 games so far. If that trend continues, this is their night to get the win and cover, but they're laying 8.5. Indiana just 1-4 straight up ATS. So the line's a little inflated, even though I do think it's a good bounce back spot for the Nets. I would actually lean under here. This is not a game I'm using tonight, but if I was to play it with Rob Vino's money, I would say under 223 is the way to play it until I see Brooklyn play better offensively.
Yeah, Rob, we're looking at an average of these 5 games for the Nets, the total around that 228, 229 mark. They have not hit an over yet. So what do you think we're going to get tonight against this Indiana team?
Yeah, well, I'm going to be proactive here, Joe. I like the over. At some point in time, Brooklyn's too good to just not score. They scored 114 against the Sixers, which is a better defense than this. But let's add to it the fact that Malcolm Brogdon is out of this game. And Malcolm Brogdon, forget about position. He's the best defensive player the Indiana Pacers have coming from that UVA system. And without him, I tell you what, if James Harden doesn't score his points, and for those of you who play player props, if James Harden doesn't get his tonight without Brogdon in the lineup, then he'll never get it. You get tired of hearing about he's not getting the foul calls and whatnot. But tonight should be a night. Indiana does not defend the rim. I think they're 25th in the league in points in the paint allowed, which means there should be a party at the rim for James Harden on drives. Once he gets people backing up, he throws those step back threes in. So I think Harden will have a big night. I think Durant will have a big night. Indiana's just going to go pace, and more pace. They don't lack for offensive weapons, so I don't mind that Brogdon's not in the game from that perspective, but I just think that Brooklyn finds their way to, I don't know, let's give them about 115 tonight, and Indiana probably keeps pace with them because I think we talked about it the other night, Joe. That display at the rim as far as defense is concerned by the Nets against Miami the other night was absolutely horrendous. So they're not one to play much defense or, discourage anybody from getting to the rim either. I think over is probably the right number here.
Yeah, well,
maybe
listen.
I didn't look at first half, Joe. If we see first half, maybe first half might work too.
We'll get you those numbers, guys. Karis LeVert, rumored to be coming back here, but who knows how many minutes he's going to be playing there for Indiana. But if there's a breakout game for this Brooklyn Nets, maybe tonight is the night. All right, we got one more game here. It is our overtime matchup where we take a look at the total. And it's an interesting matchup, too, as we take a look at the Clippers and the Trailblazers. It opened up at 225.5, and it's hard to believe that we're talking about a Portland game in which the total is coming down here, Steve Merrill. It is continuing to fall a little bit, and I don't think that has as much to do with Portland as it does with just the ineptitude here of this Clippers offense. So when you look at this total coming down, do you agree with the market move, or do you think there's some value going back up and over the total here?
Well, you're exactly right. The reason it's coming down is definitely because of the Clippers. They're struggling right now. Obviously, Kawhi's out. They've gone 1-3 straight up to start. But keep in mind, their best game of their season, their only win, their highest scoring game of the season did come this past Monday against this same Portland Trailblazer team, which they put up 116. And they also played their best defensive game, and they all held them to 86. So Portland did struggle. In fact, Portland has scored 116 or more in all 3 other games this year, including 121 or more in 2 of those 3. So Clippers had their number. I think it's a good focus spot for the Clippers here. It's also a focus spot for Portland because they had that embarrassing 30-point revenge from just 4 days ago. That brings intensity. That could bring an under here. So this is one of the few times I probably would not be looking to play an over in a Portland game.
All right, there you go. How about it, Rob? Norman Powell, I believe, still questionable. Not sure if he's going to be back. But does it really even matter at this particular point? At some point, it's going to get so low, you got to go up and over. But do you agree with the market move and where it's at right now, or should we be looking at the over?
Yeah, Joe, I would probably lean that way because I'm a big believer in bounce backs by good teams. And that LA Clipper effort the other night, 79 points, was not even close to what they did the first 3. They scored 113, 114, 116, 79. You tell me which one doesn't belong. Probably the 79. And it's always Ski pointed this out to us the other day. It's always a big game for Paul George when he faces Portland, since they eliminated him back when he was with OKC. So he takes it to heart. I think you'll find him playing pretty well here. They only shoot 35-6 from the floor the other night. That's going to change. Portland's still not a good defensive team. They try to be, but they're really not. The question is, will Portland make some adjustments from the 86 points that they scored against the Clippers? And that night, I believe that's a night where Damian Lillard was just miserable from the floor. So you can't expect these things to continue. That game hit 202 with Portland playing lousy. LA's in a good bounce back mode offensively here in my mind, more toward their average of 114 before the last game. So I think over is probably the way you look here. Generally speaking, Joe, I think maybe this could be a line maker starting to adjust as well, because we're talking about how all these games are going under. Portland game under 230. We don't normally see that whatsoever against a team that can score. So, and maybe this number here is an indication that they're coming down a little bit.
Yeah, maybe it's time to start looking the other way here, and it's going to take them a little while to find a happy medium there, Kevin Dolan. What do you think? Hard to believe we're talking about Portland at home and an under, but what do you think? Is it under, over? How are you going to approach this?
I agree with a lot of Rob's points there. I think it's moved a bit too much at this stage. We talked on Monday's show actually about the Blazers Clippers the last time I was on the show. I remember saying like my own thoughts in the game were on the under in that one. I thought the Blazers were coming in far too hot into that game. They were shooting some absolutely lights out stuff against Phoenix in the game prior, 54.3% effective field goal percentage. They were 42% from 3-point range as well. You just can't keep that up. And then we obviously seen what happened in Monday's game against the Clippers. So, by the same token, I think Rob mentioned that their Clippers shot just 35.6% from the floor last time out against the Cavaliers. I mean, that's just terrible stuff. So, prior to that, at least, they were averaging 114 points per game. So, if we get back to that level here, I know the Clippers obviously have a ton of injuries, but, I think we have a very real shot, especially at this new line. Of going back over this total. And again, Portland at home, that's the way I'd be looking on this one.
Yeah, I mean, listen, this is, I believe, the fourth home game for Portland here. So they're getting real comfortable on their own home court here. So scoring should not be a problem for them. Maybe, just maybe, the value is now on the over. All right, guys, there you got it. We got 4 games on the board. So there's a few other games on the card here tonight. We'll see if any of those games make these guys' best bet cards. So, Steve, we'll start with you, my man. You know how it works. 60 seconds on the clock. Do with it as you may. I pretty much know where you're going to go already. So there's going to be a prop or two, a reference to Rob Vino and his math, and then there'll be a best bet. So 60 seconds, it's all yours, Merrill.
First of all, I want to wish everybody an advanced happy Halloween. And don't forget, this is the last weekend of October. November right around the corner. College basketball starts in 1 week. NBA 9-2, 82% number one ranked start at WagerTalk.com. Take advantage of a Halloween special. Halloween 31 gets you 31% off everything I have this weekend at WagerTalk.com. 31% off everything. Use it multiple times. Halloween 31. Let's look at a free NBA play on the late night card tonight at 10 o'clock Eastern. Going to look at the LA Clippers +3. 9-2 start, as I mentioned. One of those best bets was that 30-point winner with the Clippers back on Monday night. They dominated the Portland Trailblazers. The question is, will they be focused again tonight to dominate? I think they will be after a terrible showing against Cleveland on Wednesday, just 79 points scored. Meanwhile, Portland coming off a 20-point win actually might not be as focused as you think in quick revenge. LA Clippers have their number, and we get them at +3 now. LA Clippers get it done tonight on Friday. Pass the pumpkin to Rob Vino.
All right, there it is. All right, going Clippers. Give them the points there. All right, Rob, you got it, unfortunately. The pumpkin is all yours. 60 seconds on the clock, man. Where are you going here tonight? What's the best bet?
Yeah, I'll go back to one of the games we talked about earlier, Joe, Indiana at Brooklyn. And this total has held at 223, most likely because Malcolm Brogdon is out. I mean, that's the only reason I can see that. And Brooklyn's played bad offense, let's face it. But the Brogdon injury doesn't really bother me from their offensive perspective tonight. Indiana's got guys that can fill it up, and they play at a pace that allows you to get plenty of opportunities. The other side, though, benefits from Malcolm Brogdon not being in, and James Harden should benefit quite a bit here. I see again, a 115-plus game for Brooklyn tonight. If ever there was one, this is it. and Indiana will follow suit and score their 108, 110, whatever it is. So to me, 223, I'm glad it's staying put, and I'll play it up and over the total as the best bet.
All right, going up and over. Look at that. Go Braves. All right, so let's talk about it here, Kevin Dolan. Where are you going here, man? You got 60 seconds. You know how it works. And I'm proud of you, man. Not one Swiss Miss reference, not one straddle. You've done fantastic. You've had an opinion on everything, man. So let's keep it going. 60 seconds. Come on, where are you going tonight?
Yeah, we'll just mention quickly, Joe, Vegas 39. That's a 3-day weekend all access down to $39. Vegas 39. In terms of a best bet, I know these guys disagree with me, but I'm going to go Charlotte, Miami over here down in the southeast. You know, Charlotte were held to just 103.3 possessions in Wednesday night's win over the Magic. That was way down from their season average, 108, you know, which is the third highest in the league right now. And you know, over on the other side, we've got a Miami team who, you know, they were just terrible from shooting range against Brooklyn on Wednesday night. Also, the Heat shot under 40% from the field in that game. Their three-point percentage was down by about 3% also. And they were just fortunate that they were facing an even worse shooting team in Brooklyn. So I do expect both teams to play with a bit more pace tonight and probably to have more success offensively as a result. So, yeah, over 222.5 later tonight for me. Between Charlotte and Miami, best bet.
Oh, look at that. Nice. Look at that Irish mist. Worked right out there for you guys. One more time, the best bet recap here. What do we got? We got Steve Merrill taking the Clippers. Thinks good bounce back on the road to Portland. Rob says, let's go over. Nets busted out here tonight. 223 is the total. Go up and over. And Kevin, despite Merrill and Vino trying to talk him out of it, he says go over. Heat, Hornets, over 222.5 here tonight. And this may come as a shock, not that Steve Merrill's wearing yet another prop, but the simple fact that I believe LeBron is still questionable here tonight. There are a whole bunch of injuries here. And, Rob, I know you were looking at him earlier like I was. There's still a whole lot of question marks, and here we are coming up at 5 p.m. Eastern time on a Friday. And it's kind of hard, especially with the Lakers-Cavs. It looks like Anthony Davis is a go, but who knows if LeBron's going to sit out that third game in a row right now. It's brutal. It really is, Rob.
Yeah, and you know, I'm of the opinion now that Kevin pays more attention to what Steve says than me. I feel slighted.
Yes, yes, you do.
If Bam Adebayo doesn't
Better
go,
props.
Charlotte over is one of my favorite plays on the year. I thought I said it, but maybe I didn't say it correctly. But I think if Bam doesn't go, here's the point. Then Charlotte's going to score their share of points, and I think it turns it into somewhat of a quicker game. It is the Miami results so far this year, and
right.
The fact that they played that Indiana game to 102-91, it scares you a little bit. But it's real hard to buck Charlotte overs right now the way they look. So we'll see.
Yep. All right, guys, don't forget contrarian play of the day here. Looking to make it another win here to end of the week, the third win. We're going to be looking at the Pelicans getting points at home, taking on the Sacramento Kings. So New Orleans will be your contrarian play of the day. Steve Merrill, Rob Vino has got a 5% play in the NFL, up, locked, and loaded. You heard it, Vegas 39. For Kevin Dolan, the 3-day all-access pass right now. Use that code, $39. Get 3 days, all sports, all plays. Head over to WagerTalk.com, guys. No reason not to make it a profitable Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Certainly in the association where Merrill's got his best bets, two of them, in fact, locked and loaded right now. And that'll do it. Great week number 2 here with the association. We'll be back on Monday again. We'll do it all over. Hit that bell in the upper right-hand corner. You'll get notified when we're going live. But in the meantime, guys, on behalf of Steve, Rob, and Kevin, best of luck with your plays tonight and this weekend. Good luck. Come back and join us on Monday. Have a good weekend.
Okay, we know that you might be sick of hearing about spooky good deals this Halloween weekend, but we've chosen this Friday, Saturday, and Sunday to bring back one of our most popular specials. The WagerTalk Fill Your Cart is back. This Friday, October 29th, Saturday, October 30th, and Sunday, October 31st, you will get a 31% discount on everything you fit into your cart. Whether it's a daily package, a one-day all access, a 3, 7, or 30 package, a full season of college hoops, or a full 12 months from your favorite handicapper, you'll save 31% with coupon Halloween31. You can fill your goodie bag as many times as you want until the clock strikes midnight on Sunday. Finish off October with this ghostly good deal and fill your cart wisely.